All right, so today I am joined by the amazing, lovable, fabulous Kevin McHale, one of our favorite Gleeks. How are you doing today?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. So, Kevin, tell me, how excited are you to perform the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee at the Kennedy Center?
I'm very excited, scared, nervous, anxious, but I woke up today and I was like, I'm just so excited to get to go do the show because
Hmm.
everybody's so funny. Everybody gets to sing their faces off. And it's just a very, very fun and touching show to get to do. And it's quick. It's 90 minutes,
Yeah, there you go.
Keep it moving.
Yeah, definitely. So, forgive me if I'm wrong for this, but is this your first time performing in like a major live theater production?
It is.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so how did you get pegged to be involved with the spelling bee?
There's been this past like year and a half, randomly, a lot of theater opportunities have sort of been circulating.
Hmm.
And this was the first one to actually happen. And this was the one I wanted the most, to be
Okay.
honest. I love the show. I love this character. And just as a fan of it, it felt like something that I could feel really, especially it's my first time doing it.
Yeah.
That's like, I understand being in a classroom of other kids,
Yeah.
it's my safe space. So like this, I could attend. It's like I have so much respect for theater. I have so much respect for theater actors
Hmm.
um, that I do not take this lightly. And so I know the amount of work it takes. I'm like, okay, this in my head, I can wrap my head around this.
Hmm.
The compacted timeline of all of it is still terrifying, but I was like, I see how that works well for this show.
Definitely. So you play William Barfée, is how you pronounce it, Barfée.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So,
Yes.
so what do you specifically want to bring to this role?
I mean, what I mostly want to do is be able to be like the kid that I was so deathly shy,
Really?
like deathly, deathly shy. Oh, like hide behind my parent shy. And William Barfay is the opposite.
Okay.
Um, Probably, because as a defense mechanism, but to be able to like be loud and proud, sort of like about what you love to do
Hmm.
and just be so unabashedly yourself because at this point like you don't care if anyone likes you. I think that is like remarkable. I think, and so to really like lean into that, and the wonderful thing about playing like elementary and middle schoolers is that you can really just let yourself go and be present and react to whatever's happening, and every show is going to be different
Yeah,
because there's
exactly.
audience participation.
Hmm.
So I think that's what's most exciting to me, and hopefully, the part that I get to bring part of myself to the character.
Definitely. So what else do you ultimately hope audiences take away from this show?
I think I hope they have like a very well-rounded experience. The show is just so expertly written.
Hmm.
The music is great. Everybody's so damn funny. But there's also so much heart to it
Yeah.
that I hope they come away just having a really nice night where they got to cry, laugh, and then maybe cry a little bit because they were touched right in the heart.
Yes, yes.
Um, it's such a like joy it's just a joy of a show. I've never gotten to see it live, so I'm excited to see people's reactions to
Mm.
it because I
Yeah.
also think it's a really unique show.
Yeah, it definitely is. I agree totally. And with this being your first major theatrical production, what are you personally hoping to gain from this experience?
I'm honestly just looking to gain experience,
Okay.
like in general. It's new and terrifying, which means like I have to do it. I love when things terrify me.
Hmm.
I'm a masochist, and I really trust everybody else that's going to be up on that stage with me.
Hmm.
And we've, in only 12 days of rehearsal, we've built like a really good group, and everyone has like really shown up and done their thing. And I'm just really looking forward to like, I think the theater experience is so unique and so special,
Definitely.
and live theater, um, because I've been surrounded by so many theater people for so many decades at this
Mhm.
point, and hearing about it for so many decades, like I'm excited to just actually experience it for myself, and because everybody loves it.
Mhm.
And I think the joy of it, I think it's a true test as an actor. And so we'll see what happens. There's
Yes.
no cut, there's no editing, and it just lives fully in the moment, and people can't record. So if like you have a bad night, you have a bad night.
There you go. Yes. And Spelling Bee also starred some other amazingly talented actors like Beanie Feldstein, Noah Galvin. So the chemistry between all of you has been great.
Oh my God. I didn't really know any of them before coming into this.
Hmm.
And I feel like I've known all of them for forever. I also think we're very lucky that like a show like this that is about kids and being loud and rambunctious, and I've never laughed more
Yeah.
in a rehearsal process for anything.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it's like at the end of the day, my voice isn't tired from the singing, it's tired from all the laughing
Laughing.
and the talking, and we all feel like old friends. And I'm so excited for people to get to see, like you said, Beanie and Noah. They're so good in this.
Yeah, yeah. It's
They're
just
so
wonderful.
funny.
It's so wonderful when you could just like immediately connect with your castmates and just have fun.
Yeah. And I also think it's one of those things too where all of these characters are so well defined. Before we even came into this, they're defined and they're really good and successful how they are for a reason.
Hmm.
And then to just see what that looks like on Noah or on Beanie or Bonnie or Nina, whoever it is has been really, really fascinating. And I love the idea of like getting to sit there, similar to Glee, sit there and watch like your friends perform
Yeah.
and just be proud of them is like one of the best experiences and one I clearly like and feel safe in. And I'm excited for people to see that.
Definitely for sure. So now that you're doing this, have you kind of gotten like the theater bug? Do you have any like Broadway ambitions now?
I mean, if they'd have me, these people are so talented. Like I can't to do 8 shows a week, like year round
Hmm.
is I think the work ethic, the talent in theater people is just next level.
Yeah.
And sure, if I can work my way in there and prove that I deserve to be there with everyone else,
Yeah.
then yes, I'd absolutely have to do it. But yeah. And also I think what's really done is I'm not someone who, yes, I grew up being obsessive fan of the opera. That was my like way into musical theater because my mom liked it, and I put on shows in my living room. But and I would see local touring shows when they came through Dallas.
Mhm.
But I still wouldn't say I was necessarily like a musical theater buff by any
Okay.
means. And I think what's exciting about Spelling Bee is that I feel like it's universally loved.
Hmm.
Where even if people necessarily, if you are a diehard musical theater fan, or if you aren't, it's a show that I think everyone will like, and it has like I love dark humor, and like it has something for everyone. And I think for me, this being my sort of way in, finding shows that I think really fit me and what I enjoy is also something that I'm really looking forward to sort of finding out and digging through and seeing what's out there.
Yeah, definitely. So you've always had this passion for acting, haven't you?
Yeah. I've done it since like fourth grade or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, we know and love you for your role as in Glee as Artie Abrams. So did you ever think that show would garner such success and provide so many opportunities for you?
No. No, nobody did. I don't think anybody did. It always felt like the little engine that could, like it was that thing that like we all loved it. We all loved doing it. I remember reading the pilot script for the first time before I even auditioned for it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this is very much my brand of humor."
Mhm.
Um, but no, and I don't think anybody would say they knew.
Yeah.
I think it was just on the podcast I host with Jenna Ushkowitz from Glee. We recently had like the marketing genius
Okay.
behind all of the Glee stuff,
Mhm.
and he was saying when they screened the pilot for some of the executives, like these older straight white guys,
Mhm.
half of them were like crying by the end of the pilot. And they're like, well, we can't market it as a, like this. It's like,
Yeah.
why?
Why
It
not?
worked on all of you. Like you all just cried. And so I think it was one of those things that in theory it had no reason to work.
Hmm.
so that's why, based off of what did work and what didn't work, none of us really had any expectations.
Yeah.
And it was just a gift, and it's still a gift, and like we had such a great time doing it.
Definitely. Was Artie the character you initially auditioned for?
He was. Artie, there was another character initially named Rajesh in the pilot.
Rajesh?
Rajesh.
Okay.
And once Ryan, I believe the legend goes, once Chris Colfer came into audition,
Hmm.
Ryan loved him and then made a new character, Kurt. But
Yes.
like we all auditioned with the same side, like the same scene. So like I was using part Artie, part Rajesh side. So did Chris, because there was no Kurt yet. But yeah, but Artie just had a smaller role in the pilot than ended up being.
So then what, over time, what made Artie the perfect role for you?
I I think I tried to not pretend I was a nerd, or tried to pretend I wasn't a nerd on the inside, but like I was. And I think similar to like William Barfée and Spelling Bee, like Artie spoke his mind for better or for worse. Look, he said some really, especially when it came to women, he very questionable. A lot of growing up to do, but I always admire like the confidence in which he was written, and I think Ryan Murphy intentionally did that with a lot of these characters, or like archetypes of people who didn't necessarily normally have such a big voice in like the media landscape. He wanted Artie to be confident. He wanted Kurt to be confident, and so I think that was a really special thing. And like I was never that confident. I had to learn that during Glee.
Yes, yes. And although Glee ended in 2015, you still have the love and support of fans. How amazing has that been for you?
That's been great. It's shocking to me that people still like it and still talk about it. I feel bad for the people who don't like it, because like I feel like it's never really gone away to an extent. Like it's somehow like it just sort of like between TikTok and it's like I don't know.
It's
And
always
there's a
on
lot
there.
of us.
Yes.
There's always one of us around doing something. So I'm grateful for it. People are dedicated and loyal, and I mean, like you talk to Grant, who was a superhero, who was the Flash, or you talk to anybody, like it was such, who have gone on to do like crazy big cultural things. But it was such a unique thing that even they will say like there was nothing like that experience. And we know that exact thing will never happen. It was lightning in a bottle, right place at the right time sort of thing for all of us.
Yeah.
And so you can't replicate that. And we were just so lucky to, have had that experience, and thankful for that people liked it and still like it.
Yeah. I mean, now there's like a whole new generation of people finding Glee now that it's available on streaming.
Yes.
Has it been a little odd meeting some of these younger fans who definitely didn't watch it when it was
Yes. Oh yeah. I mean, a couple of years ago, like right after sort of like the first time everyone started traveling again after the pandemic, I was in New York with a friend who's a very talented theater actor, Gideon Glick. And we were standing on the corner, and these like 12-year-old like schoolgirls with their backpacks on like ran up to me screaming and like wanted to take a picture with me. And he's like, "What the hell was that?" I was like, "I have no idea. I'm like, they weren't even, were they born yet when the show was on? Like, are they old enough to be watching this show?" It was very confusing. And so that was sort of like, I was like, oh, new generation of people. But a lot of people that I know have said the same thing. Like Katie and Kerry Washington from Scandal, like they've said the same things recently. I've talked to both of them, how like people are finding their show. So I think there's something about like that era that we were all on. It's been enough time where people are now finding it again. I don't know why, but thankful, happy people are enjoying it.
Yes, exactly. And people are still loving it. So you're all good there.
Yeah.
And not only did Glee make such a significant impact on entertainment, but it made an impact on LGBTQ plus youth across the world. So as a gay man, how important has that been to you?
That has been like the most surprising and like really fortunate thing. And I think it's like we're all happy to get a job whenever we get a job,
Yeah.
like happy to be employed. It's rare when it happens for everyone. It's like, what is like 1% of the union is working, like that sort of thing.
Mm,
And so then when you have something that is enjoyed by a lot of people, it makes a lot of people happy, that's great. And then the extra layer of actually seemingly making like
mm,
real significant and substantial impacts in people's lives in the way that the show did, um, is beyond anything like my mind can
mm,
grasp, because like I knew what those shows like meant for me
mm.
as a kid a couple years before I ended up on Glee. Like I had to illegally watch that UK show Skins.
Yeah.
It was like somebody like put it on YouTube in 6 different parts each episode, and I would like wait for the gay storyline. And so like I know what that's like, and I know how important that is. And it's like I didn't necessarily have gay friends, or I didn't know if they were gay at that time,
Mm,
or anybody to look up to. Like who I had were the people on TV.
yeah.
And so to be a part of something like that for a different generation is very meaningful, especially for someone who, you know, was very appreciative of that and still is appreciative of that
Mm,
in media.
definitely. Did you have a major crush on any of your Glee castmates?
Oh my gosh. Um, I don't know. We all had like friend crushes on each other. I know that's like an overly political question, politically correct answer, I mean, but I don't know. We were all just like obsessed with each other. I don't know if we could really like Jenna had a crush on me for like a month. And I'm like, girl,
Not gonna.
I pulled her into my literal closet and I was like, but we were young, it was like our
Yeah.
college years.
Hmm.
And so we were all learning about each other,
Yes, exactly.
about ourselves and about each other. It was a very safe space. It was like actually a very good group to like sort of grow up with in
Mhm.
that way, because we all needed the same things at the exact same time.
Yeah, yeah, for
Like
sure.
we were all learning, we were all experiencing this crazy thing together. But it's like your formative years. We're all in our Chris was 18, I was 20.
Mhm.
And so like we didn't know what we were doing.
Just kind
So
of want
very
to
lucky that we
right.
had each other.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And like you said, you and Jenna hosted, and that's what you really miss podcasts, where you're rewatching all 6 seasons, looking back at favorite moments, spilling behind the scene tea. So you're currently on season 4 with the podcast, is that correct?
Yes. We're just wrapping up season 4.
Okay, cool, cool. So what made you want to start this podcast and look back at your time on
We didn't. We
the
didn't want to. Um, but there was something that we both acknowledged and I think it came from me talking to Ryan as well, where um he had this like he mentioned like anytime Glee came up, he had this like sort of negative reaction.
show?
And at some point I was just like, Ryan, you didn't always feel like that.
Yeah.
And I'm not buying this. He said, what do you mean? And it's just like I think the perception of Glee more recently has been more negative, because obviously there's been like really big tragedies and like controversies and things. And like that's what's more interesting to talk about.
Yeah.
But we were there 16 hours a day, 5 days a week for 6 years.
Mhm.
And we went on tour. And like there's no reason why this should have even lasted 6 years if everything was so bad and miserable.
Yeah.
Um, we spent a lot of time together, and like I said, we were obsessed with each other, and we most of the time was really really great. Obviously in later seasons and later years, when like really substantial personal things happened,
Mhm.
like yeah, that changes dynamics. But I think for us it was about sort of reclaiming the narrative that got away from like, and also like we're all very protective of each other
Oh yeah. Mhm.
and very protective of the show. And it was sort of like, because everything was so negative, that just kept getting perpetuated. And it's like, how do you combat that?
Mhm.
Like, it feels like you can't.
Yeah.
And so I think really like coming together and like talking to Ryan and sort of like having group therapy basically, through everyone sort of, because so many years afterwards, like we have nothing to lose. We can all be honest with each other.
Exactly.
And so that's what the show has really sort of been about, reclaiming that narrative and rephrasing it, and also giving people who worked on the show behind and in front of the camera an opportunity to talk about their experience. And a lot of times after we've had those conversations, they've texted me or Jenna. I've been like, oh my God, I'm so happy I did that. Because they even were so bogged down in the negativity of it that they forgot like the joy that we created every single day for each other. Because there was almost a full year where we did 13 episodes and nobody had seen anything, but we had the time of our lives just performing for each other, for the crew. And that's what was so special about it. And I think that's what's been really fun about doing the podcast.
Yeah, for sure. And now you have gone on record saying that you have no interest in reprising Artie if there was ever a Glee reboot. Do you still have those feelings?
I mean, I think Ryan should create Artie's twin brother. Obviously, I just I just don't necessarily feel that. There are incredible actors who are in chairs, and I think if we have, I think there should be characters that are in chairs, but hire actors that are in chairs to do it. I think it's a different time. We know better now. And I mean, I'd be part of it, but I don't necessarily think it'd be appropriate for me to, I don't know. I don't really think so. Other people have said otherwise, but I'm like, Ryan Murphy has created crazier things in Ryan Murphy universes.
Very true. Yes.
I can play a cousin.
An identical cousin. Yes, we'll go with that.
Yeah. Like what? The genes are strong.
Yes, it could be like Barty or something like that.
Exactly. Like whatever. We can figure something out.
We'll figure something out. Yes. Well, Kevin, what are some future goals you hope to accomplish with your acting career and platform?
I'm excited by challenges. I'm excited by new things. I think it's easy to like put ourselves in boxes. I'm guilty of doing that. So this theater adventure is new and exciting. And I'm excited to see where that goes. And there might be some more next year. So we'll see what happens with that.
We'll see. Well, one of your more recent projects was participating in RuPaul's Secret Celebrity Drag Race. What was that like?
I honestly had similar feelings about that as theater, because I respect drag queens so much that I'm like, I don't want to show up and have it be like that I think I could do this, or take the work that they put in for granted. Because who works harder than a drag queen?
Exactly.
Like making your own clothes, beating your own face, wigs and costumes, and also like you put on a show. Are you a comedy queen? Like what? It's, to me, it is just like, it's incredible. And a lot of times, like, we know the famous ones, but a lot of times, like, you're doing it in your local bars, and it's like, I just think they're like, I mean, RuPaul always says they're superheroes, and like RuPaul's correct, but I loved doing that so much, and it was like all the cliches. Like, I feel different after having done it. There was something so liberating about it. And I do think everyone should do drag at least once, because like you will learn something about yourself that you did not know, for sure.
Awesome.
Perfect. And like just like a great queer crew. Like I've never been around such an inclusive like queer crew, and I never thought it was something that I necessarily like needed or wanted, but like absolutely, it's life changing. And having that community on a set, and we had Jujubee and Monet and Brooklyn Heights, and they're just like all so stupidly funny and talented and hot, like. And it's like we got like the makeup artists, like we got to sit there and just be like dolls, and they just like painted us. People put wigs on us, like, and I've made friends with them, like the Wigs and Grace people, like Gloria who did our wigs. Like we're still friends.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, Kevin, how can one stay up to date with you the best?
If you want to follow me on Twitter, good luck. I don't. It's a dark place on Twitter these days. I'm just search Kevin McHale on all the social medias. I'm there being stupid.
Okay, that's what we
Hey,
love.
hey.
There we go.
Yeah.
Well, then before we wrap up, are there any other upcoming projects or anything else you'd like to mention or plug at this time?
No, just if you're in DC, come see Spelling Bee.
Okay, and when is it playing?
We are there October 11th through the 20th.
Okay, perfect. Fantastic.